Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. This is Dongrui Wu from the School of Artificial Intelligence and Automation, Huazhong University of Science and Technology. It's my great honor and a pleasure to present Affective Brain Computer Interface tutorial. So this is the outline of this talk. It is mainly based on our tutorial published in the Proceedings of the IEEE in 2023 with a few modifications and updates. First, let me briefly introduce the concept of affective brain computer interface. The concept of affective computing was first proposed by Professor Picada from MIT Media Lab in 1995. Generally speaking, affective computing is computing that relates to, arises from, or influences emotions. Actually, the importance of affect or emotion to artificial intelligence has long been documented in the literature. For example, in 1986, Marvin Minsky, a professor from MIT, published a book entitled The Society of Mind. There, he mentioned that the question is not whether intelligent machines can have any emotions, but whether machines can be intelligent without emotions. It is well known that human beings have 6 basic emotions, as first proposed by Professor Paul Ekman from UCSF in 1971. These 6 basic emotions are fear, anger, sadness, disgust, joy, and surprise. Later, in 1974, Professor Marabi and Russell from UCLA published a book entitled Approach to Environmental Psychology. There, they proposed that emotions can also be represented as continuous numbers in the 3D space of arousal, pleasure, and dominance. So, for emotion recognition, we can perform both classification or regression. Then in 1982, Professor Russell from UBC proposed that for most emotions, actually we can represent them as continuous numbers in the 2D space of arousal and violence. That is, for most emotions, we do not need the third dimension of dominance. So for emotion recognition or regression, we can use either the 3D space of violence, arousal, and dominance, or either the 2D space of violence and arousal. This is a very brief history of affective computing. In 1971, Professor Ekman proposed that humans have 6 basic emotions. Then in 1974, Marabi and Russell proposed the 3D representation of emotions. Then in 1997, Picada formally published a book entitled Affective Computing. And the S4E transaction on affective computing was established in 2010. Now it has an impact factor of around 10, which is quite high. And in 2011, the Association for the Advancement of Affective Computing was established. It is currently the largest international community on affective computing. Different types of signals can be used in affective computing, including video, images, speech, etc. And in this talk, we focus on physiological signals in affective computing, particularly EEG signals. And this is related to the broader research area called brain-computer interface. By definition, a BCI is a direct communication pathway between the brain and an external device. It can be used to research, assist, augment, or repair human cognitive or sensory motor functions. This figure shows the flowchart of a closed-loop BCI system. Particularly for this talk, we collect EEG signal using EEG headset. After that, we need to perform signal processing to increase the signal-to-noise ratio of the EEG signal, and also to remove the noise and outliers. After that, we perform feature extraction to extract more informative features and also to reduce the dimensionality of the original EEG signal to reduce the computational cost. And then we can perform classification or regression to understand exactly what this EEG signal means. And then we can further design controllers to control external devices such as the wheelchair or the progress of games. And in this talk, we mainly use EEG signals to recognize human emotion, and then we can design controller to regulate emotions. According to where we collect brain signals, generally there are 3 types of BCIs. The first type is called non-invasive BCIs. The most frequently used input signal for non-invasive BCIs is EEG. EEG headsets are easy to wear, and we do not need any surgery at all. So it is relatively convenient, and it is quite safe compared with invasive BCIs. But non-invasive BCIs also have some disadvantages, including a relatively poor spatial resolution, and it cannot effectively use high-frequency signals, and also it requires calibration prior to usage. In this talk, I will introduce lots of algorithms that can be used to speed up the calibration or sometimes completely eliminate the calibration. Another major type of brain-computer interfaces is invasive BCIs. There we use electrodes to collect brain signal directly from the neurons, and then we can further extract low field potentials or spikes from these raw signals. Because invasive BCIs have a very high signal-to-noise ratio, they can be used to repair damaged sites, provide new functionality for paralyzed people, etc. But the main disadvantage of invasive BCIs is that the electrodes need to be implanted directly into the gray matter of the brain. And after some time, usually a couple of years, the sensors may degrade, and we may not be able to collect high fidelity brain signals. So we need to remove the old sensors and implant new sensors. This further increases risk and the cost of invasive BCIs. The third type of BCI is called partially invasive BCIs. The main input signal in this case is École. Here, the electrodes are implanted inside the skull but rest outside the brain. It has better signal resolution than non-invasive BCIs, but generally a little bit worse than invasive BCIs. It has lower risk of forming scar tissues in the brain than fully invasive BCIs. So generally, the advantages and the disadvantages of partially invasive BCIs are between non-invasive BCIs and invasive BCIs. In this talk, I will focus on non-invasive BCIs, particularly using EEG as the input signal for emotion recognition. This field is called Affective Brain-Computer Interface, ABCI. And this field is getting increasingly popular in the past 10 years. Here I'm showing the number of publications per year returned by query emotion or affect brain-computer interface on Google Scholar in April 2023. So you can see that there is a rapid increasing trend of the number of ABCI publications. Next, I will introduce how we acquire EEG signals in affective BCIs. First, we need to perform experiments to elicit desired emotions and then to record the corresponding EEG signals. Such experiments are most performed in controlled laboratory environments using deliberately designed settings to elicit specific emotions. Usually, we can use emotional videos or music to elicit different emotions. The underlying assumption is that a happy movie clip rated by multiple evaluators elicits a happy emotion for the subject. But at later part of the talk, we will see that this may not always be the case because the subject may have watched this movie tens of times, and he may not find that so interesting. So the subject may not demonstrate the desired emotion, but this is the state of art. Currently, we do not have any better approaches to elicit emotions. So when the subject is watching an emotional video or listening to an emotional sound, we can reduce his or her EEG signals simultaneously. There are different types of EEG headsets. For example, the left figure shows white electrode. Here we need to apply gel to increase the conductivity of the electrode. And the middle two are using dry electrode. Here we do not need to apply gel, so they are more convenient. But generally, their signal quality is a little bit worse than white electrode. EEG signals can be partitioned into different frequency bands, and generally there is correlation between the energy of the signal in different frequency bands and emotions. For example, for the alpha band, which is between 8 and 13 hertz, generally it is related to relaxed, reflecting, meditation, elation, such emotions. But this is a very rough correspondence. We need to use more sophisticated machine learning algorithm to map EEG signals to the corresponding emotion. In addition to EEG signals, there could be other types of brain signals that can be used in affective computing, including fMRI and fNIRS. fMRI measures the neural activities by detecting changes associated with the brain blood flow. And fNIRS uses near-infrared light to estimate cortical thermodynamic activities associated with the neural activities. These types of signals can also be used, but they are used less frequently than EEG signals because generally this equipment is much more expensive than EEG headsets. For affective brain computing interface, there are about 10 public ABCI datasets. Here, I'm listing these more popular ones. So generally, they have some common patterns. For example, the number of subjects are generally below 50. And for the subjects, usually we use college students or young people. So these datasets do not include the signals from children or the elderly people. And for stimuli, usually we use video clips or music video clips to elicit desired emotions. For modalities, generally we record multiple different modalities in addition to EEG signals. Usually, each video clip is rated, is assigned to a different emotion class, such as anger, happy, etc. And for some dataset, we also have the dimensional emotion state, such as balance, arousal, dominance, etc. The two most popular affective BCI datasets are DEEP, DAP, and SEED. Next, I will take a couple of minutes to introduce the SEED dataset, which is becoming more and more popular. SEED stands for Shanghai Jiaotong University Emotion EEG Dataset. And it is not a single dataset. Actually, it is a family of datasets. In 2012, the first SEED dataset includes only 3 different emotions, which are positive, negative, and neutral. Later, they developed another dataset called SEED4, which includes 4 different emotions, which are happy, sad, fear, and neutral. And later, seed 5, which further adds the 5th emotion of disgust. Recently, they also introduced another seed dataset called seed VIG. Here, they measure people's EEG signal and also assign alertness levels or the fatigue levels to the corresponding EEG signal. So it is mainly a regression problem. So the seed family consists of several different data sets, and it is used very frequently in the community. After signal acquisition, next we need to perform signal processing to increase the signal-to-noise ratio of EEG signals. Generally, there are 5 steps in signal processing in affective BCS, including temporal filtering, re-referencing, artifact removal, resampling, and epoching. We need to first perform temporal filtering, which is usually bandpass filtering, because not all EEG frequencies are useful for emotion recognition. Very low frequencies may be DC drifts, and very high frequencies may be noise. So usually we apply bandpass filtering to EEG signals, and a common choice is 4 to 45 Hz. This is used very frequently in the literature. But recent research showed that delta band, which is between 0.5 and 4 Hz, this band power may be very useful in characterizing negative emotions, and high-pass filtering EEGs at 1 Hz was recommended for independent component analysis, which we will introduce later. So a better bandpass choice may be 1 to 45 Hz. And frequently, we also use notch filtering to remove 50 or 60 Hz power line interference. After temporal filtering, we usually perform re-referencing. Because EEG signals are recorded, record the voltages with respect to a specific reference. Typical reference electrodes include one mastoid, linked mastoid, the vortex electrode, single or linked ear lobes, or the nose tip. So different data sets may use different references to unify the different data sets. Usually we perform re-referencing after data recording and filtering to increase the signal-to-noise ratio. In this reference, it mentioned that re-referencing post hoc can remove 40 dB unnecessary noise of actual headsets, so it is very useful. There could be different re-referencing approaches. The most frequently used approach is common average reference. Usually it had quite good result. It is a very simple procedure to remove the mean of all channels from each individual channel. So the general idea is that if we collected 20 different channels, we just compute the mean of the 20 channels and then remove that mean from each individual channel. That's the general idea, but according to the original reference scheme, there could be small variations. After bandpass filtering and re-referencing, next we usually need to perform artifact removal. There are some common artifacts in EEG signals, including eye blinks, muscle movements, etc. Usually, they are removed manually. There are also some semi-automatic approaches, such as the independent component analysis, blind source separation, and the principal component analysis. The general idea is to find spatial filters to transform the original EEG channels into some virtual channels, some of which may be artifacts, noise, and hence we can safely remove these virtual channels. One of the most popular approaches is ICA, independent component analysis. It identified multiple independent component filters to produce maximally temporally independent signal sources available in the original data. A certain signal source may be app links and hence removed. After that, usually we perform resampling, which is usually downsampling to reduce the frequency of the original EEG signal to reduce the computational cost. The original EEG signals are typically recorded at very high sampling rate, for example, 1024 Hertz. But as mentioned before, useful EEG signals do not have that high frequency. So we usually downsample the EEG signal to 128 Hertz so that we can preserve the useful band of 1 to 45 Hertz. That's enough. The final step in signal processing is epoching. EEG signals are usually recorded continuously for each stimulus, which may last several minutes or half an hour or even longer. Each such piece of EEG data may be viewed as a block. Usually, each block is further partitioned into many overlapping or non-overlapping shorter epochs to increase the number of trials in analysis. For example, in Affective BCI, the user may be watching tens of short videos, and we record the EEG signal for these short videos altogether. The total length may last be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, etc. After that, we need to find the starting of each short video and the epoch that corresponding EEG signal to partition the EEG signal into 20 or 30 short blocks, short trials according to each video clip, and then assign the corresponding label to the EEG trial. The next major step is feature extraction. We perform feature extraction for each individual EEG trial. Different types of features could be extracted, including time domain features, frequency domain, time frequency domain, brain connectivity features, and their combinations. This is a very brief summary of the different types of features. More specifically, for time domain features, we can extract from each EEG channel its mean, standard deviation, power, first difference, second difference, their normalized version, etc. And also some more sophisticated time domain features, including normalized non-stationarity index, fractional dimension, higher order classing, etc. For frequency domain features, we could use band power derivatives such as the mean, minimum, maximum variance, etc. of the power from different bands, such as 0 to 4, 4 to 8, etc. And also higher order spectrum. Particularly for EEG-based emotion recognition, there is a very popular feature called differential entropy. Actually, this type of feature was also first proposed by Professor Baoliang Liu, a co-author of my paper here, and also the author of the SEED EEG dataset. Its formula is like this. For a fixed length EEG sequence, differential entropy is actually equivalent to the log energy spectrum in a certain frequency band. There could be some other more sophisticated frequency domain features, including differential asymmetry and rational asymmetry, and also DLAT and DCAU, such kind of spectral features, and bispectrum and bicoherence. Then for time frequency domain features, usually 2D spectral representation of EEG signals in simultaneously time and frequency domains. These features can be extracted, which usually include short-time Fourier transform, spectrogram computed from short-time Fourier transform, and DWT, etc. Also, some brain connectivity features, including Pearson correlation coefficient, phase locking value, phase lag index, etc. These different types of features can also be combined to create even more features. For example, we can extract more features from different frequency bands and extract more features from different intrinsic mode functions in empirical mode decomposition. Okay, after feature extraction, the next major step is emotion recognition, which uses machine learning algorithms. There are different machine learning algorithms in affective BCI corresponding to different scenarios, such as within subject emotion recognition, which is the easiest case, and also transfer learning for cross subject or cross session emotion recognition, deep transfer learning, multimodal learning, cross-modal learning, etc. Within subject emotion recognition means that each subject is considered individually, where we collect some data from that subject to train a classifier, and then apply the classifier to further data acquired from that subject. This is the easiest case in emotion recognition. However, there is a so-called block design pitfall in EEG-based BCIs, as first pointed out in this 2021 PAMI article. If we mix all trials together and randomly select 80% of them for training and the remaining 20% for test, then there is a so-called block design pitfall. In this paper, it defines block design pitfall as this. The block design leads to classification of arbitrary brain states based on block level temporal correlations that are known to exist in all EEG data rather than stimulus-related activity. Because every trial in their test sets comes from the same block as many trials in the corresponding training sets, the block design thus leads to classifying arbitrary temporal artifacts of the data instead of simultaneous stimulus-related activity. So if we perform EEG classification offline, we need to partition our training and test data very carefully to avoid this block design pitfall. For example, we may use the first 1 to 12 blocks for training and the last 13 to 15 blocks for test. So the training blocks and the test blocks are explicitly different from each other. If we mix the trial from all these 15 blocks together and then randomly partition some of them for training and some of them for test, data from the same block may exist in both the training set and the test set. That could result in this block design pitfall and lead to very high classification accuracy. Actually, it is unrealistic and wrong. The block design pitfall becomes more significant if each EEG block is partitioned into multiple overlapping trials. For example, if the 0 to 10 second trial in a certain block is used in training and the subsequent 5 to 15 second trial from the same block is used in test, then there is data leakage since part of the test data have been seen in training and hence the test result will be over-optimistic. So it is very, very important to perform cross-block data partition and evaluations. Actually, in this 2021 PAMI article, it points out that lots of results in the brain-computer interface community are not that realistic due to this wrong data partition. Another major machine learning approach for cross-subject or cross-section emotion recognition is transfer learning. A machine learning model may work well when there are adequate training data and the training and the test data have the same distribution. But these two assumptions are generally not satisfied in affective BCIs. First, we want to perform fast calibration for a new user. This means that we can only collect very few calibration trials from a new subject. So we do not have adequate subject-specific training data for the new subject. And second, due to large individual differences, generally it is not feasible to use data from existing subjects directly for a new subject calibration. So Transfer learning is frequently used in course subject or course session emotion recognition. The basic idea of transfer learning is to use data or knowledge from some source domain. In PCI case, the source domains in existing subjects to facilitate the model training in a target domain, which is corresponding to a new subject. Transfer learning is very widely used in affective PCIs to reduce the subject-specific calibration effort. Generally, there are three schemes for transfer learning. The first, which is also the easiest, is instance transfer. The basic idea is to weight the source domain sample so that their marginal distribution is more similar to that of the target domain. This is very simple. The upper bound of its performance is very limited. So now there are not so much research in this direction. A more promising transfer learning approach is feature transfer, which performs feature transformations so that the feature distribution of the source and the target domains are more similar in the new feature space. Generally, this approach is, if performed properly, can achieve much better performance. The third type is the parameter transfer, which uses the source models to regularize the target model. For example, in deep transfer learning, we can freeze part of the model parameters and then only fine-tune the classifier. So in deep transfer learning, feature extraction and classification or regression are integrated into a single neural network and simultaneously optimized. Deep transfer learning can be achieved generally through two approaches. First is parameter transfer. We first train a deep learning model using data from multiple auxiliary subjects and then adapt it to the new subject, fixing the first few feature extraction layers and then using the subject-specific data to fine-tune the last few classification layers. Another popular approach is adversarial learning. Here we need to design a domain classifier to distinguish between the features from the source domain and the target domain. If the domain classifier cannot perform well, it means that we have performed a very good feature transformation so that the features from source and the target domains have a similar distribution. Then we can use the source domain feature to build a classifier for the target domain. There is another machine learning paradigm in affective PCI called multimodal learning. As we have seen in the public PCI datasets, usually we collect multiple types of physiological signals in affective PCIs, including EEG, ECG, eye movement, etc. So they can be used together for more reliable emotion recognition. For modality fusion, generally there are two ideas. The first is feature level fusion. Features of each modality are extracted individually and independently, and then they are concatenated into a single larger feature vector for classification or regression. Another direction is decision level fusion. We build a classifier for each modality and then aggregate their results. A new direction in affective PCI is cross-modal learning. In real-world affective PCIs, maybe not all input signals used in training are available in test. For example, we could collect both EEG and eye movement signals in training in the laboratory. But when the system is used in practice, maybe only eye movement signals are available for convenience. So the test modality may only be a subset of the training modalities. We can use all available modalities in training, and they may achieve better performance than using only one of the modalities. So in cross-modal learning, in the training phase, we train a multimodal fusion network and an emotion classifier using both EEG and eye movement features. the conditional GAN to learn the relationship between eye movement and the multimodal features. And in the test phase, we can use either eye movement or EEG signal, a single modality as the input for emotion classification. Using cross-modal learning, we can achieve better performance than single modal learning. After we recognize the emotions from EEG signals, sometimes we also need to perform a brain stimulation to regulate our emotion. There could be different types of brain stimulations. For emotion recognition, which refers broadly to implementation of a conscious or non-conscious goal to start, stop, or otherwise modulate the trajectory of an emotion. Multiple EEG-based emotion biomarkers have been proposed. For example, increasing EEG alpha activity reduces the anxiety and vice versa. For fMRI and FNIRS-based emotion biomarkers, there could be, for example, we can regulate the activity of a certain region of interest to change the emotions. So based on these principles, different signals can be used to stimulate our brain. Brain stimulation using ECT, TMS, VNS, DBS, deep brain stimulation, TRD, etc., have been proposed in the literature and used in the hospital. Particularly, ECT is widely available and its effects are relatively rapid in severe TRD, but its cognitive adverse effects may be cumbersome. And TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, is also used very frequently in hospital. It is safe and well tolerated, and it has been approved by FDA for adults who have failed to respond to one antidepressant. But its use in TRD is still controversial, but it is not supported by rigorous double-blind randomized clinical trials. Anyway, it is used very frequently in hospitals. Next for ABCI applications. There could be different types of applications. First, cognitive workload recognition. The relation between the function relating the mental resources demanded by a task and those resources available to be supplied by the human. We have this well-known Yerkes-Dodson law, which says that for best performance, usually in mental tasks, we need an optimal level of strength. It should not be too low or too high. But this optimal level of strength is different from different subjects. We can use EEG signals along with other type of signals to identify the optimal strength or the arousal level of individual subjects so that they can perform mental tasks better. Another major direction is fatigue estimation. Fatigue, or sometimes called drowsiness, is an important contributor to many accidents, particularly traffic accidents. Different strategies such as computer vision-based and driving behavior-based have been used for driver fatigue estimation. EEG-based driver fatigue estimation, which is less dependent on outward behavior and less subject to deception, belongs to the latter. It's physiological-based fatigue estimation. But for EEG-based driver fatigue estimation, another advantage is that fatigue may be detected from EEG signals earlier than from other modalities like facial expressions. The fatigue originates deep in the brain. So before the fatigue is actually accumulated to a dangerous level, maybe from EEG signal, we can already detect that. Another major application of affective BCI is depression diagnosis and treatment. Depression is a very common mental disorder. Globally, it is estimated that 5% of adults suffer from depression. It is also a leading cause of disability worldwide and is a major contributor to the overall global burden of disease. Multiple EEG-based biomarkers are proposed for depression diagnosis. Affective BCIs have also been extensively used in treatment-resistant depression therapies. For example, deep brain stimulation implants electrodes within certain areas of the brain to generate electrical impulses to regulate the emotion. Finally, challenges and opportunities for affective BCIs. First is brain signal acquisition. White EEG electrodes use conductive gel to increase the conductivity. The advantage of white EEG trials are that they can give very good EEG signal quality, but there are also some disadvantages. The main is that gel injection is very time-consuming and user-unfriendly, which may hinder the acceptance of white EEG electrodes-based ABCIs to consumers. In our laboratory, frequently we use dry EEG electrodes. The advantage is that they are very convenient to use. We do not need to inject the gels, but the cons are that signal quality still needs improvements. Although their signal quality are approaching that of white EEG electrodes, and it is still worse. For broad real-world applications, it is very important to develop cheap, convenient, and high-fidelity brain signal acquisition devices. Currently, these high-quality EEG headsets are quite expensive. For example, for the tooth EEG headsets in our lab, each one has about 30 different channels. The cost is about $40,000 US. It's quite expensive. The second challenge or opportunity is emotion labeling. As we introduced at the beginning, video or music-based emotion elicitation are frequently used to collect so-called ground truth data, but they may have problems. Because of individual differences, the subject may not feel happy while watching a so-called happy movie. Even though the subject may feel happy, the activation level may be too low to be reflected in his or her EEG signals. And the subject may feel happy for a short duration of the movie, but it is difficult to know which part it is. For example, the short movie may last 2 minutes, but the user may only feel happy for the first 30 seconds. But usually it is difficult to know which part it is. So it is usually assumed that the subject has a happy emotion during the entire duration of the movie, which may not be the real case. Finally, people may exhibit multiple emotions simultaneously. For example, a graduate may feel both happy and sad at the graduation ceremony, but most ABCI experiments assign only a single emotion label or rating to each movie or music. So from machine learning models trained from such dataset, we cannot recognize multiple emotions simultaneously. So more accurate and realistic emotion labeling approaches are needed, but currently we do not have better approaches. The third challenge and opportunity is diversity and size of ABCI datasets. There are several problems with current public ABCI dataset. First, the dataset size is very small. The number of subjects is usually between 8 and 58, mostly below 30. And the number of stimuli is 13 to 40. Larger ABCI datasets will also facilitate more rapid progresses. For example, large language model to be used for ABCIs. And a second problem with existing dataset is that the demography of subjects is very limited. The mean age is between 21 and 35, so children, teenage, and the elderly are not adequately represented. Dedicated datasets and models should be created for this underrepresented population. Another challenge and opportunity for affective BCIs is negative transfer in emotion recognition. In transfer learning, we try to use data or knowledge from other subjects to facilitate the calibration for a new subject. But due to these reasons, sometimes negative transfer could occur. That means we use the data from other subjects, but actually we got even worse performance than not using the data. Possible reasons for negative transfer, as indicated in this survey paper we published in 2023, which also received the Winner Review Award from this journal. There are four possible reasons for negative transfer. The first is large domain divergence. For example, negative transfer in emotion recognition may occur when the source and target subjects have significantly different cultural backgrounds. If we train the classifier from Chinese people and then directly apply that classifier to people speaking English, the results may be very, very bad. The second reason may be poor source data quality. For example, the emotion recognition accuracy of the source subject is too low to be used in helping the target subject. The third possible reason is poor target data quality. For example, EEG data from the target subject contain too many artifacts or noise, or the EEG electrodes may be placed at scope locations that are not responsible for emotions. So we cannot extract any useful information from these electrodes. The fourth reason is inappropriate transfer learning algorithm. Each transfer learning algorithm has its own assumptions and specific application scenarios. So based on our data, we should choose the appropriate transfer learning algorithm. In the literature, people have proposed different approaches to accommodate negative transfer, as summarized in this survey paper, including domain similarity estimation, safe transfer, and negative transfer mitigation, etc. Although theoretically some of these approaches can guarantee non-negative transfer, but in practice we found that no approach can always avoid negative transfer. Finally, privacy preserving BCIs. Many affective BCIs use transfer learning to facilitate the calibration, making use of EEG data from source subjects. But in addition to emotions, EEG signals also contain other private information, including user identity, housing status, psychological state, etc., which may be easily revealed. For example, actually, also in our own experiment, we can perform EEG-based person identification with very high accuracy. So user privacy protection in affective BCIs is very important. Also, this is the requirement of different laws worldwide. Generally, there are three types of privacy preserving approaches in the literature, not limited to affective BCIs, including cryptography, data preservation, and machine learning-based approaches. For example, federated learning, source-free transfer learning, etc. And some of these approaches are summarized in this review paper we published in 2022. Okay, I guess this is the last page. Secure affective BCIs. EEG-based BCIs are subject to adversarial attacks. It means that deliberately designed tiny perturbations can be added to the EEG signal to fool a machine learning algorithm to output the wrong coding result. Actually, my lab is the first in the world to study adversarial attacks to EEG-based BCIs, and also we developed multiple different approaches to defend against such attacks including data modification, model modification, and adversarial detection, etc. Okay, I guess that's all for my introduction. Thank you very much for your time and attention. If there is still time, I'm open to your questions. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wu, for this wonderful introduction to our day here in Montreal. So we have 10 minutes for questions from the audience. Any questions?
There's a question in the chat if you want to read it. I can also read it if you prefer.
Let's read it.
Let me see if I can see the chat. Okay. Let me. Oh, okay. I see the question. Some of the ABC datasets use valence arousal dominance. Those were originally formulated to be orthogonal in early psychology and mini research, but more recently, larger scale work, which can use modern computational methods, etc., and found that they are not to be orthogonal. Is the orthogonality an important aspect of how they get used in ABCs, or does that not matter? Well, this is a very good question. Actually, in our research, we also found that these three dimensions, valence, arousal, and dominance, are not orthogonal to each other. Actually, in some of our recent works, we developed an algorithm for multitask learning. That is, we design a single algorithm to recognize valence, arousal, and dominance simultaneously. We found that when we learn these three objects together, one label can help the learning for the other two labels. So if these three dimensions are truly orthogonal, this cannot happen. So although we do not have a theoretical explanation why they are not orthogonal, but from data from machine learning perspective, actually they are not orthogonal. So one dimension can help the learning for the other dimensions. So I guess this is helpful in affective BCS. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, miss.
Thank you for the presentation. My question is about data quality in terms of emotion recognition. So with the growing use of AI tools that modify and alter the face or the video or the audios nowadays, how do you see this affecting the quality and reliability of data sets used for emotion recognition? And could AI-generated emotional signals introduce biases or distort the ground truth that machine learning models learn from?
I'm not sure if I understand your question correctly. Sorry for that. So you mentioned that.
Let me give you an example. For example, nowadays, you talk about data quality in your presentation. So once you talk about the data quality, we gather data from the web in general.
Yeah.
Many machine learning repositories exist on the web. So when we test our hypothesis, we use this data sets that exist to the public, and we install it, or we buy. We may pay for using it because some of them is not for free. So about the quality of the labeling inside these data sets in terms of machine learning. Sometimes those data that exist on the web has not been verified by human experts, and some of them may be using AI to modify the content of the images or audios or videos. So once you train or once you use this data and use it in the experiment, maybe it affects the results. So how we can make sure that the origin of these data sets are not modified by AI tools?
Okay, I see. Thank you very much for your question. This is indeed a challenge in general brain computer interface research community. Because it is very time consuming to collect EEG signals, and many times we use these public data sets. But as you mentioned, the quality of these public data sets are not guaranteed. For example, in Affective BCS, we assume that the user has the subject has the corresponding emotion when he is watching a happy movie. But the subject, when performing the experiment, he may not pay attention to that video. So he actually did not have a happy emotion. This is the data quality issue. And also, as presented on this page, people could inject small perturbations to their original EEG dataset to create backdoors in the resulting machine learning model for adversarial attacks. So there could be different data quality issues. For our lab, currently we are also developing large models for EEG signal decoding. These large models could be used for emotion recognition or other types of BCS, including motor imagery, etc. We perform very careful data screening. We first perform within subject EEG signal classification. If, for example, for emotion recognition, we need to distinguish between two types of emotions, negative and positive. If we found that for within subject classification, the accuracy is near random, it means that the user was not paying attention to the video signal when performing the experiment. So we need to discard the signal from that user so that it's will not pollute the entire data set. So in this way, we carefully check the signal from each subject and each block to increase the data quality. Also, to defend against adversarial attacks, usually we perform adversarial training. That is, we deliberately inject some perturbation into our training data set to make the classifier more robust. In summary, indeed, there are many different types of data issues in the BCI research community, and we need to be very careful with the data, especially those downloaded from website. Thank you.
I have a question in the chat. So, the question is about the relationship between the frequency bands in the EEG and the source localization. So I'll just read it for the benefit of the audience here. So while you discussed on the different EEG frequencies and their consequential variations, I would like to know more about the various cerebral areas and their compatibility with ABCI, such that I suppose sensory motor areas differ from temporal ones.
I would like to know more about the cerebral areas and their compatibility with ABCI, such that I suppose sensory motor area differ from temporal ones. It could be. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, for this one, there are different brain-computer interface paradigms, and each paradigm may use a different area of the brain. For Affective BCS, which is more related to emotions, usually we believe that it is the front lobe of our brain is more responsible for that. So usually we place more electrodes near this area. For other region-based BCS, we may place electrodes at the parietal part of our brain. So there are some correspondence.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. Any more questions from the audience?
Okay, maybe
Yes,
let me read
yes.
the last question on chart. It says, can we base ourselves on emotions such as fear or intense stress if join differs more often from one individual to another? Generally, primary or conservation instincts put to the test could give more exploitable and usable data for the emotional paradigm shared for a large number of individuals. Well, I do not quite understand this question.
I think the question is about the value of more extreme emotions for the classification of signals for the BCI.
Okay. I think based on our experience, if in the training data set we have more extreme emotions, the resulting model may perform better because the emotions are generally very subtle. If the original emotion level is very they only different very slightly, it's very difficult to distinguish that from each signal. So generally, in experiment, in data collection, we use relatively strong emotions.
Thank you very much again, Dr. Wu, for this wonderful presentation, and we'll say good night in your case.
Yeah. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to introduce our work and have these wonderful discussions. And the questions are indeed very insightful. Thank you again.
Thank you so much again.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.